what I dislike is the people who play pre-modern. It's not
Yeah.
okay. Let me make this point better. I don't dislike them because they like pre-modern. I don't like pre-modern for the same reasons they do, and it's such a spike format, like just from conception, that it's hard for me to want to sit down and play that.
So I'm literally having a running conversation with Matt Moss and Casey Grissom right now
Yeah,
about the difference between pre-modern and middle school, and I'm just like, it's the same shit. It's one has Force of Will, one has Dark Ritual. It's the same shit, and they're like, no, you don't get it. It's the clientele is different, and
they may not be wrong. They may not be wrong.
to a certain extent, I understand. Like pre-modern is what I imagine like real Magic is like playing modern or playing legacy, whatever it is. I mean, I've never done that, so I'm just kind of talking out of my ass. But
I
yeah,
have like, and I
okay.
that's what I feel about it. Like it's I don't know, man. Like it's and it's this is like a further conversation we could take and talk about like tournament structure and stuff. But like with pre-modern, like I don't know. I feel like people and it's their way of enjoying themselves, right? Is
Mhm.
like playing very tight, knowing their deck extremely well, like knowing the rules extremely well, and like but they're not. There's no take back phase in pre-modern.
Yeah. Well, I was going to talk about that with Ragnarok too, about the
Yeah.
different levels of tables. But yeah, the same thing in pre-modern. I mean, that's what I was talking to a friend who went to LobsterCon, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so there's 180 people here. How many people there legitimately think they're going to make top eight? Like
I'm
three
pre-modern.
quarters of
Probably every single one of them are
yeah,
trying to, right?
probably every single one of them, right? I mean, there may be 10 people playing spice decks or whatever, just they like playing unicorn tribal or
Yeah.
whatever they call it.
The
But
Mark brother. I'm gonna call it the Mark brothers because he's like he has this deck that he loves and he's like I'm just gonna play it. I'm like okay, buddy. Like, and he will.
yeah,
He'll fucking enjoy the show himself.
yeah. But every single player there, and there's you know obviously the math doesn't check out there,
Yeah.
and there's some straight up killers in the room who are 0-2, and they're playing against Cam Wall on his mono red dreadnought deck, and they're like, what, mad. They're like, I'm gonna drop if Cam beats me, I'm gonna drop. I'm probably gonna sell my collection.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's tough because like I don't want to like I enjoy being critical of the situation, but it's hard to be critical because that's how they enjoy themselves, right? Like, I
Absolutely.
think you and me enjoy ourselves more towards the bottom end of the table,
Yes.
in the quote unquote I'll call it the play what you love camp, right? Like
Yes.
I've never played a deck where I was like, this is a fucking 10-10 banger. Like we're going to the top.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think there's room for both people in the inside of the larger community, right? It already exists. Like it's a proven. It's like proven.
Sure.
It's just it's tough when both those people are in the same room
Hmm.
and they're not on the same page, which
Right.
usually sorts itself out after round two. Like
Yeah.
everybody gets to their assigned table by round three, right? Like,
Well,
uh,
yeah. In Tacoma, right before COVID, there's a tournament 2019, right? And I'm playing, my deck with 12 berserks in it and
mhm,
whatever else, and I'm with Matt Moss, who's on, straight up. He's on blue white workshops, and we sit down together.
yes.
We get matched up. We're cracking up, and he just grabs the match slip and writes Matt 2-0 and turns it in. I'm like, yeah, that's that, and then we just sit around and
I don't
and
even
then,
want to play these games. Like, yeah.
yeah. Then he takes my ATOG proof and writes on it too, thinking it's just
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh
yeah.
man.
I'll tell that story till the day I die, man. The freaking Mossatog. Um, but yeah, it's like as long as you go into it with the right mindset. I mean, some people go in and they play a spicy deck and they just get the boots put to them, right? And then they
Yes.
then they get angry. They're like, "Why isn't this person playing salty?" And like, you can't control what somebody else does. You can't get
Yeah.
mad at them. And that's I was watching Quinn on both Friday night and Saturday at Ragnarok, and I'm like, dude, he is playing tight. He's not drinking. And he's got the biggest. His smile was bigger than mine. Mine was pretty big. Like
Quinn
people
loves that
enjoy.
shit.
Yeah, and so I have a friend who tells me this all the time. He's like, don't yuck someone else's yum.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
right.
I struggle to do that, but I try to be that person. Mhm. But let's
Yeah,
talk some shit. No,
No, I mean, like I sat down round one. So Friday night, I sit down round one with Mike Van Dyke, and I had been drinking heavily already for several hours. And
I know, because as soon as I walked in, I saw you and I was like, yep,
yep,
yep.
he's got his sunglasses on in this dark basement. Yeah,
Yes. Like,
he's blowing his kazoo horn. Yeah, so I sit down with Mike Van Dyke, who is somebody that I've come to be friends with over the years through Chalice and other stuff. And you know, I'm playing Thor or whatever, I'm lightning bolting him, doing whatever, and he's like, okay, I'll make a giant spider, I'll play a maze. Okay, I'll tap my commander and make infinite mazes. I'm like, oh, that's a problem.
yes.
The next turn, I'll tap my commander, make infinite giant spiders. I'm like, oh, that's a problem.
That was the
That's
second best
sort of
combo in the room. I was playing that one too.
the second best
The
combo.
second best.
But like
So
he was having an
yeah.
awesome time.
Oh dude, it was fun. I can't take credit for the deck I played on Friday because Claudia basically handed me a deck and I played. We
Sure.
did like one test session, like maybe a week or two prior, and then Quinn just fucking rolled me, and I was like, okay, I now know what is powerful in this format. And my deck was close to what Quinn and Danny were doing, but I didn't want to go buy fast bonds, so didn't do as well. But yes, but second most broken thing was to make infinite of everything. The first most broken thing was to draw. I drew 14 cards in one turn. I watched Danny draw 24 cards in one turn.
Yeah, that
second.
Because the other thing, I was looking at their decks. I'm like, they don't have any +4 creatures to get their commander or their god into play.
On them.
And they didn't need it. And I was like, this is bullshit. Because Thor's ability was to lightning bolt one target. That was his ability. I'm like, oh, for the rest of your turn, you get to draw twice as many cards as your opponent. I'm like, that.
Yeah, but you gotta play fucking Winds of Change, like fast. Like,
oh, you mean that one mana Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah. 1 mana wheels, 1 mana wheels, baby. I mean, but there was okay, so
should we back up?
We need to backtrack a little bit. Friday night, Twilight of the Gods special event run by Sean Sullivan. This whole weekend's run by him. And it's got special rules. There are gods. We've talked about this before, but there are gods. They have special ability. Like you basically have to complete tasks, and when you complete some of those tasks, you get special abilities, right? And so some of them were like Heimdall's second ability, which meant sacrificing a land, a plains land, was whenever your opponent draws a card, you also draw a card until your next upkeep. So you would sacrifice a land, and then you'd be like, Winds of Change, and then so you would, let's say you have 5 cards in hand, you would put your 5 back, you draw 5 for you, and then your opponent, whatever many they put back, you would also draw that many. So one time I drew 7 off mine or 6 off my hand plus 7 off my opponent's hand, and then I drew during his draw step as well. It was like, still lost that game, still lost it, but like broken as fuck. Yeah. Especially when you add like fast bond to it so you can accelerate this process.
Sure.
And then what else? There was Reanimator was good too. Brian Bogdan did very well both days. He played Reanimator, but his deck was like sick. It would have been sick as fuck without any of the god stuff going on. But he got second on Friday because we went to go watch that happen at the bar afterwards. But yeah, I thought Friday, I had a good time Friday. I think I finished a middling, whatever, 2-2, 3-2, something like that. And then I know you had a good time on Friday, but you were having a good time before you even started.
I mean, look, this whole event, the second Sean announced it, I mean, I love Norse mythology, I love all that stuff, and I've always loved Thor. So the second he released this, I'm like, I'm playing Thor, whatever. I don't care what it is. I wasn't a huge fan that Thor was anti-blue because I think blue would have been nice with Thor. And I don't know why, but it felt like they kept nerfing Thor. I mean, because Thor originally was like flying and trample, and then he bolted like 3 times when he came into
the original Thor was very powerful.
And I'm like, they nerfed it so hard that it was a fair card trying to do unfair things. I mean, look, I a lot of times I would attack for 2 and then I would bolt. I would play land, attack them for 2 with the elemental. Then I would play another mountain, tap the mountain, play mana vault, sack the mountain, do bolt, use the second mountain in the mana vault to play a 4 casting cost creature. Next turn I'd have Thor in play, and I'm dead. And I was like, I have a 5/4 that bolts when you tap him. I have a handful of red. I have Mana Flares and Howling Mines, and I went 0-5. And it wasn't totally because of those creamsicle beers, although I will chalk a little bit up to that. And I'm like, man, the power level just like I love Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt's a powerful thing in a vacuum, but like when you're developing this stuff, and we went and told Sean early on. I was like, Sean, do you know like this combo with I think it was Freyr and Maze creates infinite permanence? And he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, yeah, if you can't beat that, like, you know, if you don't have the removal, you're not playing strip mines or whatever, you don't have the fissure to get rid of their commander, like that's on you.
I was playing that combo, and it's a turn 5 combo, right? So you have to get that god out, and you have, even if you're playing in still energy, which I was doing, you still have like you make infinite whatever, but then you still have to wait a turn to do anything with it. It's I don't know. I thought it was a fair-ish combo because you had to spend at least 3 turns getting your god out, and then 1 turn making something, and then 1 turn to attack. And you can disrupt on the last step. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, my only beef with it is like I understand like how Maze is supposed to work, right? It's supposed to remove a creature from combat and stop the activity from happening. Basically, make it as if they got lost in the maze.
Mm-hmm.
It felt weird that you could like tap and untap it and tap and untap it a billion times. That just didn't make sense to me. Yeah. And so the first time I saw it, I was just like, all right, well, I'm going to get another beer.
Let me know when I'm dead. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, am I dead? No. Okay. Can I take my turn?
That was me and Mark. I played Mark and I comboed, and he's like, "Am I dead yet?" I'm like, "No, you have one more turn." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like,
yeah. So I mean, it was wonderful. The flavor was amazing, and you could tell that there was people in the room. Like I drove up with Aaron and Joe and Tanny, and Aaron and Tanny were like, I don't even know what this is. I just want to kind of play old school. But they built decks for it, and they did great. But some people take it super seriously. And then you got like Claudia and Danny and Quinn who have been playtesting for what feels like a year.
They did like it was even the original set was even more broke than what was released, right? Like it's too much it shows like how hard it is to like actually create balanced Magic cards, right? Because all that shit was like there was more broken versions of that got tuned down, and some stuff got tuned up. And yet still broken shit happened. Which kind of sucks.
And I have to constantly fight the irritation I have in my brain because what Sean does is so groundbreaking to me. I love the fact of taking the old school card pool and developing it, adding something to it, changing the rules to just add something. But I constantly get frustrated when there's people out there that are like, here's a new toy. My entire goal with this is to break it, is to break the toy and like make sure that nobody else can play with it. And that's just how some people enjoy.
Yeah, that's their fun.
Thing.
That's their vanilla bean ice cream. Yeah.
And it's hard to like say that message without getting angry about like, hey, you don't have to break it for everybody else. Like let the Thor player cast his lightning bolts a couple times. And it's I mean that's part of like old school too is some people just want to cast Pearled Unicorn or Nightmare or whatever, and some people are like, let's get a team together and we're gonna play test the 75th sideboard card and we're gonna run 100 games and simulate whether Shatter or Disenchant is better in this artifact removal spot. It's like that's always been kind of the dichotomy of this format is what are you doing here? Like, why are you playing this format? What are you trying to get out of it? And for me, it's really like boiled down to the cards are just a vehicle to see my friends. And like I like playing Magic. It's fun for me, but the second I win or lose, the game's over. I'm like, push the cards back. I'm like, tell me about your life. Tell me about your altars. Tell me about other stuff going on.
That's I was talking Justin didn't make the tournament because he had to go to Alaska to do his
Sure.
actual real job.
Sure.
But they were in town last night. And so we went out and talked to him down, and I drove fucking 40 minutes into Queen Anne again, and hate it. And we hung out for a few hours, and that's what one of the things I was like, I brought a deck with me, but honestly, I just came to like see how you're doing, like, and I think I played 3 games, but like they were like just like half-assing games, and then
Sure.
he fucking stomped me with his mono black deck. So
sick.
Yeah, very sick card.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a little bit of shade at at some of the Chicago guys that I have never met. But the story is that Justin attacked Jayco with a Lord of the Pit, and Jayco didn't know what the rules text on Lord of the Pit was. I'm gonna throw that out.
It doesn't surprise me. I'm pretty sure
throw that out there.
I've never cast a Lord of the Pit ever.
Maybe I don't know.
He might have animated one, but
we'll see if I get any hate mail for that. We'll see what happens.
Dude, you know, I bumped into Mano this week because he wants to talk about AAA a little bit, and I was like, yeah, we can talk about that. But he's like, yeah, Cam, you're deep in the underground now. Like, I don't even know what you're doing. And like he thinks somebody like me is deep in the underground. Somebody like Jayco, I don't even know if you could find him.
They're in the bunker. I call it the bunker. They're never coming out.
If I give you $1 million in 48 hours, I don't know that you could find Jason Jayco. I don't know that you could arrange a face-to-face meeting with him.
He's like the Jason Bourne of fucking old school. He's just like elusive. He's like, there's a signature, but it's very elusive. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like randomly I'll be hiking in Arizona and he'll just pass me on the trail and be like, hey, what's up, Cam? And then just keep going.
Just like that's it. Doesn't even say anything else. Hey man, what's up? And it's like rose-colored glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, nice to see you. They just bombs off a cliff into a river and swims away.
Nice.
Yeah. There are some absolute characters here.
So what else? What else did you? I mean, I know you enjoyed playing on Friday because I for sure saw it. What else? What else did you get into on Friday? Did you play any AAA games? I know we didn't get to play any.
Oh man. Okay. So
yeah, tell me about the AAA stuff.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. But one thing I wanted to add with this is, you know, a lot of people are getting older. A lot of our friends who haven't had kids are having kids, changing jobs, buying houses. Like stuff is just it doesn't feel like it was as simple as 5-6 years ago. And so one of the things when I put this on the calendar several months ago is I got so much EV off the anticipation of coming up here. I mean, we're talking about literally weeks and months of euphoria from like, I'm going to go to Seattle for this weekend. I don't have to work. I don't have my kids. I don't have anything. I'm just going to go play Magic and hang out with my friends. And I was talking to my wife a couple days before I left, and I was like, this is almost bittersweet because I've enjoyed the anticipation of going so much that by the time it gets there, and you know how these weekends go, they're just a freaking whirlwind. They're so fast. Especially, I think we were there less than 48 hours. But that's something that I look forward to. And as soon as I got home, I'm like, okay, what's the next thing on the calendar? Even if it's a year from now, I need to get something on the calendar because that anticipation just melted my heart when you know, work stuff gets bad or your kids are bothering you or you know, stuff that you end up spending your Black Lotus money on your chimney.
Yeah, multiple times.
You know, you're like, well, at least I'm going to be able to cast Thor and lightning bolts. So I thought that was a really important thing. I sat down with Danny while we were having lunch and we just talked a little bit about that stuff. And it was really nice where Danny and I connected through somebody else. He came out to Oregon for some like totally random vacation and he and I hooked up. We had really not met or talked before. But we just went out to a brewery one night, had a couple of beers, and just sat under the stars and talked about stuff. Not even really Magic, more about community type stuff. And that was another thing that I was really happy to be able to do. But you see me when I walked into that downstairs brewery room. I mean, I hugged probably 20 plus people, and I'm like, you can't buy this. You can't. The feeling that you have from something like that is worth every tournament that you run, every deal that you've cut somebody on Discord or whatever. Just all the work, everything that you put in. That just makes it worth it when you could walk into a room and blow your war horn, and you got people lining up to buy beers or play AAA or whatever. But yeah, that's something that was really important to me. And it was really apparent how important this stuff has become, this in-person Magic after being gone from it for so long. It was really a powerful, like, emotional response that I had, which was great, right? I mean, that's what you want. That's why we do what we do. So, but you're talking about Friday. We got to the brewery a couple hours early, because we got to
aware. 9 o'clock, I believe, is when I saw a message. I was still at work or something. Like,
the first beer I cracked a lukewarm PBR, sitting in a cooler for like 3 weeks out in the sun, cracked it in my driveway, and then we drove up to Seattle from Portland. But yeah, we got to the brewery about 2 o'clock, and they were just opening up, and they had this pale ale on nitro that had orange and vanilla in it, so it tasted like a creamsicle. And I don't know if you've ever had this, but you just get in the zone where it's a sunny day, you got your sunglasses on, your buddies around, the beer is just flowing. You feel like you're invincible. Yeah, feel like you could drink a million beers and nothing bad would happen. So we sat down and we start playing. It was Tanny, Aaron, Joe, and I from Portland. And we just played a couple casual games, and then Joe's like, "Hey, let's play AAA," which is our casual Annie format. And he has this Reanimator deck that he's trying to lose the whole deck because it's so bad.
It is so bad, and I've told him it's so fucking bad. I've told everybody Reanimator's bad. Continue.
He loves Reanimating stuff. So we sit down, and I have this green-red Atog Stormbind, just absolute masterpiece.
Yes. Stormbind is the truth.
Decimating people all weekend. But
how many Stormbind decks? 3 Stormbind decks.
At least. I mean, so we sit down and I'm just blowing him out. I have 6 permanents out. I have a handful of cards. And he's like, okay. He goes, Ritual Dark Pact. And I'm like, some alarm bells started ringing because I beat DFB in the Annie League on that. Because I won one of them off him, and I have one in my binder. And I'm like, wow, what does that do again? And he's like, I get to trade.
Yeah,
was it his
steal a card?
Yeah. He basically steals my Annie card, and I'm running a super lean deck. My green splash is 4 Cities of Brass. And I am absolutely kicking the shit out of him. I'm about to win, and he dark packs and he takes my City of Brass, and the tiltage was so. I mean, dude, I can afford a $7 City of Brass. That's not the issue. The issue was he took something that was mine.
That's what that one league I ran. That's what DFB did. He literally would mulligan to like a fucking Ritual and a Dark Pact, and then concede after he got your card. I'd be like, you motherfucker! Like, I'm losing. 06, most cards won in Annie. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was so funny, and he was just crowing about it, and like he has his set of like 3 signed ones from Tadine, and then this one, because of course I tatted it all up with Ragnarok and stuff. And dude, he'll never let me live that down.
I was wondering what the shit talking was on your guys' Discord. I was like, I saw something about City of Brass, and I was like, this must be from the last weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, now I know.
It was just you know what it was like? It was like I was Gandalf on the bridge, and he was the Balrog that had got knocked off, and he was already plummeting to his doom, and he
fucking whipped you. Yeah,
he whipped me and grabbed my ankle and pulled me in. because I won a Colossus, Chronicles
Yeah.
Colossus Sardia.
Neat. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
But yeah, like as shitty as I was doing on Friday in the main Twilight of the Gods event, because I was just getting pummeled by people left and right, and that was okay. I was still having an awesome time casting Thor, but I played probably 5 or 6 games of AAA or matches of AAA and just ran through the room. And I played a bunch of mirror matches where Howling Mine just got me. I was just drawing the right cards.
Yeah.
And I know Howling Mine is kind of a shitty card in regular old school, unless you're playing Twiddle Vault, because people just draw their card and then shatter it or disenchant it. It's not good, but it's good here. And I don't even play Necro. It's really good against Necro.
Very good.
But getting a Howling Mine, or God forbid 2 Howling Mines and a Stormbind out,
it's game over.
Yeah,
You have to have a disenchant on board to
you
win
can't
that.
do anything. Yeah, it was amazing. And so I came home and I took the ATOG package out. I left Black Vises in because I love Black. Turn
And
one.
they're also good with Stormbind.
Yeah.
And they're also very good with Howling
Yep.
Mine.
Yep, very good with Howling Mine. But I just leaned harder into the Alliances and Ice Age stuff, so I found a little more spice. Because the other thing, I was talking with Aaron on the way home, kind of in that like post-event euphoria, and I run a couple Taigas and a Wheel of Fortune in that Annie deck, and he's like, "Look, you do what you want. They're your cards. If you want to gamble them, but I know that Aaron saying this, I would feel bad if I won a Taiga off you in this format. That would make me uncomfortable because I don't want that to feel bad to ruin the experience. And I've always looked at it like, oh, would I feel bad or would it even affect me? I'm like, no, or else I wouldn't be playing it. But
right.
I never looked at it from the standpoint of that might make somebody else uncomfortable. And so I was like, nah, okay, you know what? That's good feedback because Aaron is somebody that I listen to.
Yeah, he's pretty well. Like he's got some good ideas. Like
yeah,
he's going to give good feedback.
He's smart. He's a very close friend of mine, and he and I have a very we could talk to each other about anything. And he was just like, look, that makes me a little uncomfortable. And there's people that are not going to say that to you, Cam. They just don't want to. They just won't play with you.
They just won't play it.
Yeah, it's like
that's a good argument.
Yeah, and so I took it out because I still have. I mean, there's plenty of stuff in there. There's forks and there's strip mines and there's factory. There's whatever. There's plenty of
good stuff.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Is like, I want to have stuff in my deck that if somebody wins it off me, they can play it in regular old school or they can play it in AAA, and like that's the whole point. I mean, hopefully after a little bit of this is we can look at our decks, and our decks are filled with stuff that we've won and lost from each other. But.
Yes. Like my new favorite cards are like the ones that I have that are like all tatted up, right? Like I intentionally play my like 20-cent white border strip mine over. I have a full place of signed strip mines now, right? Like I play that thing over all that shit 99% of the time. Same thing with like Llanowar Elves, Lightning Bolts, all that fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm like, yep, that one's going in. Take out the fucking another unlimited lightning bolt or whatever.
I mean, look, I saw a lot of cool cards over the weekend, and I wonder what somebody thinks when they look at my deck.
It's just a labor of love, right? Like it's just another way of like self-expression. Like some dudes like want to have like a full beta deck, right? And then some dudes are like, I want to make it so you can't tell what card this is.
Yeah. I mean, Pez is pretty famous for making fun of you on time. He's like, yeah, I'm going to use Batman to cast Galactus, to cast Jean Grey, and then I'm going to attack you with Beast and Rand al'Thor, and then,
Was he talking about the new Magic sets or no?
No, yeah, exactly right. But yeah, I mean, I played against several people that had like totally clean decks, right?
Yeah,
and nice cards, and they just see like some of the absolute train wrecks that I have, and I just want. Sometimes I wonder what's going through their head. I mean, probably half of it is like, oh, those have to be fake, right? Like those boxes are fake, huh?
No, they're the real deal. I
No,
promise. I
no,
promise.
I was, yeah, I sat down next to Kira and I was playing them, and she's just like, yeah, I remember those. That was a long time ago. It's
Sean
like,
was I was playing Sean last night and he was playing his he has his altered. I like
mhm.
can't even tell what they are. I was like, Sean, what is that? He's like, oh, that's a Mox Pearl. I'm like, sure. Sure. I can't tell. I'm not gonna try and read it. It's like that's
Yeah,
what it is.
he's just playing everything as a Mox Diamond.
Yeah, it's like yeah, whatever, Mox. I'm like, okay. I'm like, is that a Black Lotus? I'm like, I can't even tell.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like seeing that stuff. I think I like looking at both, right? I like looking at like a really clean, fully unlimited deck. I think that's very cool. I
yeah,
like looking at, alpha beta decks. Uh I think all that stuff can all fit in the same place. It's just a different
mm,
different like, what
yeah.
you're into strategy.
Whatever the hell Quinn is doing, like
Oh, Quinn's off the
yeah.
fucking you think you're off the deep end? Quinn's off the fucking deep end. Did you see his like I was talking to him last night about uh how he takes his deck pictures. He unsleeves every card and to
Yeah.
get them just right. Like that's not a he doesn't like take screenshots and then like cut the cards down and then place the cards digitally. That's a real like he really lays it out like that. I
Uh-huh.
was like because I was like, oh, I want to get better at taking deck pictures. He's like, so I unsleeve everything. I was like, stop. We don't need to go any further. I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna fucking. I'm just gonna start
Yeah.
not doing that anymore.
What I have done is I've started turning the lights off and using natural light, and you
I
do
do
get a
do
much,
that.
yeah, you get a um better quality image. But I mean, the same thing is like I work so hard getting all these stupid freaking altars. Like I want to show them off. I don't want. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna cover half the card where like people stack their stuff, and like I want to stop in the middle of the game and explain to people. Like I was playing against Chow,
Mhm.
um, who is like my new best friend, and every time he's like, "What the fuck? What is that? Where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, let's stop." And then the guys sitting next to us are like, "Whoa, what is that?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, no, here, just take my deck and start looking through it, and like just
Yeah.
put it back together when you're done."
In order. Just put it in order.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I'm 0-3, man. It's all
Yeah.
good.
It's
Chow, do you
we're,
mind? And
we're
he's
fine
like,
down here. Yeah. I like that shit. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the picture and then I'm just resizing it in PowerPoint so that I can like do that. I'm using PowerPoint because
that's so
that's my
good.
background. But yeah,
'Cause that's what
like
we do.
that's what you got to do. Just resize so that we can lay the entire card out and then just slim it down.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I really like taking the picture with an iPhone, and then it's so easy to resize.
Mhm.
And crop is I guess what I'm looking for. But um, yeah, I mean, why spend all this time getting these nice cards? See, when I saw all that like weird random shit you were selling, speaking of cards, I
Yes.
thought you were replacing stuff that you had gotten signed by Julie or by whoever this weekend. I
No,
thought
those
those were
that's
out
my
of your
that's
cube.
my shit. That's my
Oh,
personal shit. Yeah.
I thought that was coming out of your cube, and I was like,
No, no, no.
oh
Fuck
man.
no. The cube has gotten a lot of signature upgrades, but I would probably sell the rest of my collection before I sold my cube because you can just take that anywhere and be like, all right, let's just fucking cube.
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
that's like
the
Doug.
last thing that would go.
We have a nice like pretty tight casual group here, and Doug has started playing with us, and he has his vintage cube, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and it was so fun. But he's like, this is I will always have this. I will never take this apart. He's like, this is the last thing that leaves my possession.
Yeah. I
And
feel the
it's
same. Like I got a
yeah,
lot of good stuff in there. A lot of your alters are like
yeah,
my only real restriction on that cube is it's got to be in English just so
mhm,
people can read it. And like on some cards it doesn't even matter because some of the cards don't even do what the fuck they say on the card anymore. So it's
yeah.
kind of pointless. But
Or you have stuff like Savannah Lion where the
it
text
doesn't
box.
matter. Everybody knows what that shit does. Yeah, doesn't. It's irrelevant. All right, Saturday.
Yes.
What did you play on Saturday? Did
So
you play ATOG?
I played Green Red Berserkatog Prison. And what I realized is that is an EC deck because
Yes, you need
if I
strips.
if I could have been stripping on top of Black Vise, I would have been in really good shape.
Yeah.
So did you hear me in round 2 scream "God damn it" and storm out of the room? Were you
No,
there? Were you there for
I was
that?
I was I was unfortunately trying to play Magic at that point.
It was perfectly silent in that room, and I was playing Max, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Max and I played several times, and he is becoming a dear friend. But we had this awesome back and forth, and we were in a game 3. I had a million artifacts out, and I had double Berserk in my hand with enough green to cast it, 4 Howling Mines out, and 1 ATOG, right? And I had to pass back to him. He was playing green black, whatever, and he had sideboarded, so he had a ton of ways to kill the ATOG, and I had a Chaos Orb out.
Okay.
And so he drew his 5 cards. He's like, the only removal he drew was Oubliette. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's like, all right, I'll Oubliette. And I'm like, cool. I'll cast my Chaos Orb. Crumble or anything? It's like, nope, nothing. So I line up for my Chaos Orb, and I'm calculating in my head how much damage my Berserk is going to do next turn. Like my ATOG is going to do 500 damage, right? and I flip my Chaos Orb, right? And it woo, bounce, corner, flips off and misses by a millimeter, right? And it was such a legitimate reaction, just God damn. Yes. And everybody's like, because it's totally silent. Everybody's still trying to spike super hard. And I just started picking up my cards, and look, all he did was put my ATOG in an Oubliette. I had 5 Howling Mines. He had no threats on board.
Probably could have drawn something. Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. I just literally picked up my cards, and Jeremy Chen and Sean were there, and I think Mike Van Dyke came over, and they saw me, because Max is just laughing, because like that's the kind of reaction it was. We're just laughing our asses off, and they're just like, rage scoop, rage scoop, rage scoop, because I was done at that point. I was like, no, I'm not playing any more Magic. I'm going to the bar.
Yes.
But I just it was pure emotion, right? Pure emotion.
That was the value. You just brought up the bar. The bar was a fucking value play on Saturday for sure. For sure.
I mean, it was the value play, but look, we drank 69,000 beers Friday night, like as a group. There were so many people hungover in that parking lot before the event.
That was my main advantage. I was very sober. I was like, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was, dude, everybody reeked like beards, cigarettes, and whatever else they had gotten into. But it was freaking wild, man. But yeah, like the food, I don't like for a hard pivot to the food.
Yes.
The food was
That's
incredible.
A good one.
I'd never had duck.
I think I took pictures of the food because I was like, fuck. It was like a legitimate meal. Like it was not like I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a real ass meal.
Yeah, no, the Swedish meatballs were incredible. Dessert was incredible. That duck, I was like, dude, this chicken is undercooked. It's like raw. And then I had to get educated. It was incredible, and like I just sat down with Danny and had a nice conversation about other stuff. One of the local guys with me, Danny, had never seen or heard of Twiddle Vault.
Oh boy!
And so he played
in proximity to Danny. Oh,
yeah, he played Danny, and he was just on like a red green aggro deck, right? And not thinking Danny's like expecting him to counter certain stuff or disenchant certain stuff, and he's not, because he has no idea what's even happening.
No.
Because that's
he's
like
probably like got a shatter or crumble, which is not that helpful. Yeah, like
yes. And Danny sometimes outsmarts himself by playing around, non-existent removalers. Like, oh, if this guy has 2 counter spells, I'll lose. Like, no, most people don't have 2 counter spells. But it was interesting, like listen to Danny talk through the process of like how you would talk to somebody who'd never encountered Twiddle Vault before.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, dude, I played Magic since 1993. I know what Time Vault does, but like this deck, or even the theory behind the deck, like I still have a hard time like mana draining your own Mind Twist to get 1 million mana to do like whatever. That is 8E chess.
Yes, like Danny isn't playing against the opponent. He's playing against himself in every match. Like it's just his version of solitaire.
He's playing against his future legacy.
Yeah. Like, I like really enjoy sitting down playing with him. I'll be like, just narrate for me, Danny, and then let me know when I'm dead. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm tapped out. So he's
Uh,
like, yes. I'm like, all right, excellent, love
yeah,
it.
we played a bunch at Chalice with the Urzazani, and that was always fun. I'm like, how's it feel having to attack the creatures?
He probably felt really bad about it. He was like, oh,
Yeah.
the so what did you end up like just 3-3?
I
You
think
finished in the middle with me.
I went like 2-4 because I
Yeah,
think I
okay.
lost my last round. But I want to say to just kind of thing to Sean, like, dude, I I love donating prizes to events and stuff, but the decks that I play are usually too good to win any spice prizes, and I'm not a good enough player. My decks aren't good enough to like top 8 anything,
Right.
and that's really not the point. And so I always kind of fall in that middle area
Yeah, the dead
of
zone
people,
with me.
the
We're in there.
yeah, the dead zone, right? Of people that don't get cards. And Sean did something that was just like, yeah, I just picked out my favorite decks and stuff, and he gave me a prize, and it says Odin's Chosen and
Yeah.
second place on it. I'm like, dude, I've never got anything like that before. And you saw it. I don't know if you were there. You saw my reaction. I like sprinted up to him and threw him in a bear hug. I was like, this is so nice.
Yeah, like the things I really enjoyed, like from a technical perspective on
Uh-huh.
Saturday, was the how they did the awards, right? Like, so it
Yeah.
was, if you had a Swedish legal deck, which sure there are plenty of people there who had that, the, what you just explained, and then he also had the spice and then the top 8. So there's like a lot, like people are gonna walk away with the card, and then in addition, there he had like fourth edition or revised lightning bolts that he had stamped and handed to everybody. So you could,
Mm.
everybody walked away with something that is like Ragnarok specific, in addition to a patch, which I thought was cool as fuck. I just got to get sewn
Mhm.
on, and stickers too, I believe. I'm 99% sure. So I like the fucking swag shit the most.
Mhm.
Like I could like
Yeah.
literally not play games as long as I get that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what there's not a lot else to say about the actual event. Like Quinn
Yeah.
won on the deck. Like, good job, Quinn. Um, he's an extremely talented Magic player, playing the best deck in the Swedish format. Cut through a bunch of really good players. I mean, yeah, you saw that table of the top 8 to 10 people.
Mhm.
Like, dude, they were grinding in
Yeah.
round 5, round
There's real
6.
magic being played.
They were grinding each other. They were like leaning forward. There was no joking around going like. And then down at the other end of the table, people are like, or the other end of the room, people are chaos orbing for like their matches and.
Yes. Yes, that I saw that. I was like, wait, what did you guys just do? They're like, Chaos Orb. I'm like, all right, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
doesn't matter.
The it doesn't matter. That's actually one thing that we were talking about afterwards was like the difference between tournament structure and how that plays into like a more casual versus more competitive event.
Yeah,
The one thing I enjoy is not having a top 4 or top 8. Like you just run straight 5, 6, whatever rounds, right?
yeah.
And it's bad for, it's disadvantageous for competitive players because if you lose a round early, let's say you
Mhm.
go like 5-1 but you lose your second round, like you're fucked. Like you're not
Well,
making
you're not
top
going
8.
to win. Yeah, you'll top
Yeah,
8, but you won't win. You have no chance to win.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
always interesting, but if you cut to a top 8, then you have the chance to win. So that was had never thought about it like that, but I thought that was an interesting thing. So like now it's like you could for future tournament organizers, you could tailor it to like how like spiky you quote unquote want to be or not be by cutting to a top 8 or not, or top 4
Mhm.
depending on the size.
I've also seen people take it where they like if you have 24 people in a tournament,
Hmm.
they run 4 rounds or let's say 5 rounds of Swiss, and then they break it into a top 8, a medium 8, and a bottom 8, and then
Ooh, okay.
you play like that way, and then you give prizes for
Inside like
finishing
each
first. Yeah,
tier.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, inside each tier. Which that to me, then everybody plays more Magic because that's really what I think what people want to do, especially in old school. Like, people want to play their cards. They play their
Yeah.
rounds out. Nobody goes 0-2 drop.
Nobody wants to,
Um,
yeah, and ID into
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
exactly right. Um,
That's actually
so
a really interesting idea
well,
to
because
like just tear it out.
yeah, so I'm working on. We're gonna have a smaller event in Portland. I think probably November. Just like trying to stay away from Chalice, trying to stay away from Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff. But I'm thinking of calling it the Regrowth Cup.
Okay.
And seeing if Quail will do me one of his nice little skulls with a tree coming out.
Do me a solid.
Yeah. yeah. But I really like the idea. We have a friend, one of our members that's he's like a Mason or something, and so we can rent out the Masonic Lodge. Yeah. So something sweet like that, and then but yeah, like I want to play and run the tournament, and so it's not going to be anything. It will probably be like 5 rounds of Swiss, and then we go get some beers at the bar or whatever.
Yes.
And we go plant trees for the Regrowth Cup.
Yeah, that's important. We gotta plant those trees.
Yeah.
Did I'll have to send you some stickers. Sean finally gave me a stack that I ordered from. But these are I don't know anything about I think it's basketball, but he made these.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I like somebody was like I guess like there used to be a basketball team here, and these are like their color, the Sonic or something like that.
Stop it.
There's probably some really fucking upset people right now because I don't know shit. Yes.
I'll trade you. Yeah.
I'll send you a bunch of these. I'll get them out today.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm trying to. I always lose my train of thought. I thought Saturday was really good. Saturday afterwards, I think was probably my favorite part. We just went out to fucking eat afterwards, but
that's always the best time.
Yeah, that was always. Yeah. I was like, I sweated through my shirt, playing anxiety magic, and then the wheels finally came off, and I was like, all right, back at my tables.
Nice.
Back at my tables.
Yeah, you had quite the run with you were playing Tax Edge aggro, weren't you?
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it was a good run for me, no doubt. Like that's probably one of my better finishes. But I lost round 2 to Nick on the deck because I literally didn't bring in Swords to Plowshares. Just didn't do it. Fucking, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking there. But those games were like I still had fun playing against Nick because we've spent more time talking than we did playing the game. Obviously,
isn't he just an absolute peach of a human being?
Yeah. Like. Yeah. If I was playing somebody else on the deck, I probably would have been a little bit more frustrated. But I was like, yeah, Nick, you already won. Like, we can just sign the slip. We don't actually have to finish this game.
Dude, he plays
like, let's just talk about this stuff.
He plays so fast too.
Very fast.
Yeah.
There was not a whole lot of decision thinking time on his part.
Nope. He's amazing.
And then the wheels came off rounds 5 and 6, and I just on downward spiral.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sometimes you're the bull and sometimes you get the horns, right?
I was just excited to make it to the top table once. I was like, all right, cool. Get back down to my people.
Yeah. I remember at the Risk a few years ago, I made it to the feature table, either 1 or 2. And because I was doing really, I think I was like 4-1 or something. Nice. And I was crushing. You know who I ran into? Brian fucking Urbano.
And he's like, have you seen this deck yet? It's called Shops.
Have you ever played against Nethervoid, Cam? Have you ever cast a 4-drop into a Nethervoid? Well, not going to today. Oh, it's so good.
I missed him. I don't know why he didn't come. I forgot to ask Nick why he didn't make it out. I'm sure he had something going on.
Yeah, he's busy. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, look, and the other thing about that stuff like that is like, we're never gonna have everybody in the same place, right? And so
that's the hardest part.
You can either sit around and think about like, oh, who's not here, or just focus on who is there. Like Park, I hadn't seen Park in years. It was great to see him.
That's the first time I met him. We've never been in the same place at the same time.
Yeah. Same thing. Nick Fox. I've never met him in person, but he's been a Cam Jam mainstay,
a regular, if you will.
Yeah, a regular. I bought a bunch of altars off. Dude, I gotta throw some flame. I shouldn't name this person, but
okay, continue.
So Brian Snoddy was supposed to be there and do Siggy's, yes. and like his signature is very desirable to people in both old school and pre-modern, right?
Correct.
And so one of my friends from Nashville sent me a bunch of cards to get signed.
Expensive cards that they probably shipped track to you, I'd assume.
Shipped to me, but didn't tell me what was in the package. Okay, so I just left I got the package. It was all laid out, get signatures from this person, this person, this person, this color ink, whatever. But I just put that in my bag, and left my bag at the brewery on Friday night. Just out with everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
I don't worry about my cards. I've never worried about my cards. Nobody's ever touched my stuff. But I went on a little bit of a vision quest.
Yeah, a little bender.
Yeah. I went looking for taquitos and cigarettes about round 4, and I just can't. I just left everything in the brewery, and then Saturday comes around and I start going through these cards. I'm like, okay, yeah, here's some AO piles and some booster tutors for Heather Hudson, and here's some Mirage Incinerates for Brian Snoddy, and like, oh, here's some stuff for Tadine. I'm like, okay, yeah, some white bordered City Brass, some Fireballs, and a Jazam Gin, and another Jazam, and another Jazam, and I'm like, dude, sending that to somebody without telling them, and like, because that little box could have got up and walked away at any time, and I would just been like, oh, sorry, man, I lost like $20 worth of your cards.
Yeah. Let me send you a 20 on the PayPal. He'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and I just like, I mean, you saw me. I was yelling about that all, but I just got on tilt, man. And I was like, dude, next time, let me know. Let me know.
Tell me before you ship those across.
Yeah. I mean, what he doesn't just put them in a PWE and send them back.
Nice, excellent. The artist part was probably like even just as big as draw as the tournament, right? Because of everybody who's there, and they're all super nice. You can like actually talk to them. Like,
yep.
Anthony Walters, I don't think he has updated his pricing since 1994 when he got his cards. He was like, just had like AP, like Mark went over and was like, you should probably like put these away and then reprice them. They were like super underpriced.
Yeah.
And he did like a sketch for me for like $50. I was like, yeah, here's what I'm really gonna pay you. Like, it's like insanity.
Yeah. So I won an auction from Nicola Beeson. She
you won the jewelry, right?
Yeah, the Thor's hammers. Piece? Yeah, so I obviously already have this thing that I love, but I got it for my son because he's gonna, when he gets a little bit older, I just thought he'd want to be mini Thor. But so she hit me up the other day and was just like, hey, thank you very much for this, and she's gonna put his initials on it and stuff. So it was really like, they're really nice people. I would sometimes think of quasi celebrities of like, they're all just going to be rude, right? Because they're just tired of dealing with people, and I couldn't have been nicer. Mark was really nice. Jesper and Spoops are always,
always good to hang out with.
Yeah. Everybody was super nice, and I talked to Sean yesterday, I think, and he's like, they all had a great time. They all did really well, which is the most important thing to try and get them back next time. If we take care of them, they'll take care of us.
My only complaint was $5 signatures.
Yeah. Well, my only complaint was Snotty not showing up because I have volcanics and land taxes. That's the only thing I wanted personally. I had tons of.
I had some cube stuff. I was gonna get my volcanic signed, but
yeah,
I didn't. It's fine. They'll be okay.
Yeah. We need to challenge Julie Barrow to a pull-up contest. Dude, she's been hitting the gym.
I was like, I wanted to be like, hey, do you want to like go grab beer? Like, do you want to come out with us afterwards? I feel like she like wants to get down and party. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It might be weird if I ask that question.
Yeah. She's closer to our age than some of the other ones, right?
Yeah. She's on the definitely. I think she's within 7 years of me.
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know. Anyhow. What is there anything else we need to discuss?
No, I mean, what's the future look like for you? You got what
I don't have anything on the list. I'm trying to get the Chalice this year, but it's always it's the same. I'm gonna just repeat myself, but it's just a PTO issue this year in particular. Yeah. And then what else is I'm gonna run the annual league's gonna come up here once Summer Derby is basically over for all of us. And it'll just be like a one night thing like we were doing, like you guys did. I'm stealing that idea. We're just gonna do like a one night fucking run it. Yep.
Absolutely.
Unrestricted balance. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it's. Let's see what
You
happens.
know, I think there'll be a rack balance deck, there'll be a mono black deck, and there'll be goblins.
Okay. All right. That's a
so I
good.
think like a goblins ball lightning blood moon deck will be really good. Him order deck will be good, and then yeah, there'll be like a white control deck. That
I'm just trying to figure out how to beat the white control. I'm trying to tier 1 everybody. Like tier 0 is going to be 4 balance decks with
Yeah.
rack, and then
dude, psychic purge him. Oh, it's not in there. Oh my
it's not
god.
in the list. It's not in the. Yeah.
You might need to add alliances for guerrilla tactics.
Nah. I want to see I want to see how this
I
plays out.
I
I'm
know.
trying to find the guy who originated. Like David Craig was like trying to find the guy who originated this. This dude hasn't posted online since 2018 or something crazy like that. Now I feel like I need to like hunt this guy down.
Yeah.
Have him come
I like
play.
it. Dude,
We'll see.
I'll play balance. My only complaint, and I made it known, is like you're gonna unrestrict balance but not wheel of fortune. Dude, let
I
us
can't.
let us wheel.
I get it.
Not you.
We'll do
Yeah,
it next
not you.
time.
Yeah.
This I like this dude spent like the website's still up, so he's still paying for that website, right? Like because you have to renew websites every year. I know that because I renew a website every year. So he must still somehow be around unless he bought like a 3-year lease on whatever that
Yeah.
website is.
It's just like if you take all the power and all the broken stuff out of unlimited, you can unrestrict all that like channel and wheel and regrowth and like what are you tutoring for? It's a piece of removal or something? Like it's just
Yeah.
to
It makes
me
everything
it's
fairer.
yeah, it's just like it doesn't matter. But and the whole thing about Annie is you want to be doing broken stuff. You want to play contract. You want to get wicked.
We'll see.
So
I gotta start thinking about a deck. Figure out the weekend, but
Mhm.
that's
Love
it.
well, I'll be
That's it.
there.
I know. Thank you to Sean if he's still listening, for running all this. I don't know what to say.
Absolutely. Thank
Fucking
you, Sean.
fantastic. Yes.
We'll try and get and Jacob may have leaked some little details about potential future events, and all I gotta say is thumbs up.
Yes.
2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up.
I'm waiting on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hit stop and then we can talk about that real quick. I don't want to like give that. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. And
Peace.
Hold on. Bye, everybody.